What's your name?
Hi, my name is Sass. I have two questions. The first question is a clarification about the first slide, that it said that science makes us understand, lets us understand the physical side of things. So in relation to that, my question is, because I'm quite confused of where does the physical ends and what starts after the physical. The second question is, I don't know if you have any information about this, but what is the status of science in our country right now?
Bad.
Thank you.
The reason why you're only a few here. I meant physical in the sense that it's measurable, and that you can control it, and that you can write a paper about it, and that others can duplicate your experiment. So you can have an experiment measuring someone's soul, but if nobody else can duplicate that, that's not science. And it cannot be peer-reviewed, that's not science.
Okay, so it's just physical in terms of it can be empirically
Yes.
validated.
Yes. The other question?
The science.
It's really bad. How bad is it? We participate every 4 years in the Trends in International Maths and Science. We always are the tail end. 45 countries, we're either 43 or 44. So in the last one in 2007, we were so scared we did not participate anymore because the trend was going down.
I would like to comment this. I would just like to...
Hi, John.
Hi. I miss you. Thank you a lot.
I'm not sure.
But don't worry.
Don't worry.
Kidding,
But don't worry, I evolved. Yeah. How did you say I evolved?
I'm proud of it.
Yes. We never really went in a good light.
I closed down the 80s
but
without meaning to.
Yeah, but for that long period, I really evolved. Thank you very much. I've been reading her. Yeah. No, that's crossed my heart. I've been reading your work. But it really. What things hit me today is her word that we must not worship science. It's really good. Because, in atheists, and I really like the way you labeled it. Yes, people label themselves, that's bad. But a lot of atheists today, I noticed that they went to this, they are going into a science worship. This idea that science, okay, disregard Jesus Christ, throw him into the garbage, let's replace him with science. That's the problem. Here in the Philippines, when you said you're a free thinker, oh yes, science is the salvation of tomorrow, this is the hope. But what I'm very happy to notice is someone in the field of science, in her own words, she said that we should not worship science. And I really agree with that because, and I agree with some of those I heard. We have to balance things. There are things that science cannot give, and there are things that other subjects cannot give. We just put it to a balance, and that is a good work. And it's sad to say that here in the Philippines, until now, even if I evolved, science is still in a bad mood. But I'm asking, a lot of school children are now involved in their science, but I find science becoming kid stuff in the Philippines. Kid stuff, I mean to say, we put science just next to science fiction, and we focus on science just like for little children, but there is no serious studies about science. And I already heard about this scientific, cafe scientific. I think it's very new. And I wish she can promote it to us because maybe a lot of people here wanted to enter the... Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. For someone who used to call me that, she thinks she's the goddess of science. Never thought myself any goddess of anyone or anything. Yes, the Cafe Scientific is a global movement. The Cafe Scientific is a global movement to bring science to the public. We had it, the first Cafe Scientific started in 2006. Nobody gets paid for it. I don't get paid for it. The organizer, we don't get paid for it. For some reason, a lot of people want to help out, and form the Cafe Scientifique. So we have different topics and we go around the city, mostly in High Street because the Mind Museum, which is a science museum, a full-fledged science museum. We finally will have our own full-fledged science museum here at the Fort. I'm curator of the Science Museum here, and we're going to open in 2011. So we're spearheading Cafe Scientifiques all over the country. We had topics like, can passion be brewed? What is a memory? Things like that. And I'm so proud that in April, I'm going to announce it formally some other time, we're going to have Cafe Scientifique on Darwin. And the scientist who's going to be there is none other than Steve Jones. Steve Jones is an evolutionary biologist in BBC. I'm sorry. He's via video conferencing. I'm going to do this with the British Council. It's going to be at the second floor of Filippo. So it's our coming out party. Yeah, galing, no? Galing ng Steve Jones, yeah. So, thank you for that. Please do not worship scientists if they are so cool and so guapo and so, it's not because of their science, it's their genes or how they were raised. They had good parents. It has nothing to do with science.
So I think it's, my name is Fisher. I think it's really good that we should remind ourselves constantly that we should worship science, because we have seen in the past when people tried to draw out moral conclusions from science, and it was very bad, it was dangerous, because first of all, science is provisional, the knowledge is provisional. It changes all the time. And yeah, although indeed science is full of rigor and one must always seek to be logically self-consistent, when you look at science, you have to agree that there is poetry in science.
Yes. Science is so beautiful, but you have to agree also that not many people see what you see. When I try to be metaphorical about it, but it just goes over the head of many people. My most favorite science columns are the ones nobody read. So we really you never agree on how to approach certain things poetically in terms of the sciences. Yes, you're right. You can never deduce moral conclusions from science. It is wrong, it is misplaced, it is not, it might be free thinking, but it's not clear thinking. And clear thinking is not as, thinking is not as important as clear thinking when it comes to science.
Excuse me. Hi. Earlier you said something about the status of science in the Philippines, and I was wondering because there was a recent survey that said that Filipino youths actually are interested in learning science, and that they think it's important to learn science. So I was wondering how come there's a big discrepancy about the young people's enthusiasm for learning science and the status of science in the Philippines.
Studies show that for math and science, they lose it in grade 4 when rigor starts. When the rigor starts. So, kasama na yung katamaran, and then the teachers don't teach it well. That too. So math and science, excited yung mga bata, di ba? They are so excited to go investigating things with microscopes. But when they get to grade 4, when there is a step to follow, science fair projects are lousy. I mean, really lousy. Every year you get recycled products. It's a food fair instead of a science fair. I get a headache because they always think they're original, and because they did review the literature the year before. So it's really bad. So I just like to make a plea because I think you're very young. I'm old now. I just look like this sometimes, but I know that you're a lot younger than I am. But if you don't have a full-time job, I think it's really good to reach out to public schools and teach the kids. You know, our teachers are really tired. Really tired. They teach 120 kids each shift. When the school can't afford it, a teacher teaches 120 kids each shift. They have 3 shifts. Imagine teaching 360 kids a day. What can you teach? Diba? So, instead of complain tayo ng complain na science is so bad, reach out. Diba? Even read a book to kids.
Speaking of education, especially in the elementary grades, we are